Alrighty, going to show you how to get those guitar sounds. So, one thing that's super important though is understanding how those instruments play. Okay, so for example, when I was trying to get that pluck sound, like that muted sound, for up here, I had to make sure that I picked that sound. So let's just go here first. I'm going to shut all the plugins that I put on. Now use Labs. Like Labs is just a great um, resource for some great sounds, and it's for free. So I'm gonna open up Labs. So I picked Rock Rhythms. Okay, so on its own, it just sounds like this, which is that kind of muted sound. So again, let's look at what I was playing in here for a second. So I'm just gonna actually. So I'm just hitting a key right now. So here, if I'm hitting I'm just gonna hit a. Also knowing a register. So if I'm playing, it only really plays if a guitar is gonna play that, it's in the lower register. So I'm just hitting a C below middle C. This is what it sounds like. So when what was I was playing? Let's look here, right? So if you zoom in down here. Again, understanding what the guitar player is going to play. They're not just going to stay on the one C there. So I was in G, I'm in G, I think, or D. So I'm playing D to F. Okay, so I'm going. Oh, I was playing, yeah, da, da, da. So I was playing, and then, yeah. So I'm going. So now I'm making a movie, that's why there's a lag right now. But I had the idea of what dum 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 dum. So I was thinking that, right? So I didn't use plucks though. I used the one that I have up here, which is rhythm, right? So that sounds pretty good on its own. Okay, and that's in Labs, right? And they have some great sounds, but it wasn't quite what I wanted for this. I wanted a little more grimy. So the first thing to do is kind of just stick it through an amp simulator, right? So Logic has a bunch of them. So right away, I play guitar, so I understand how the gain works, the master and all that stuff. I understand that this is based off of an old Vox amp. I understand all that stuff. I've researched it. I've played through stuff. So the more you know about how instruments work, the better you are able to, get those sounds. So right away, like I made it brighter. See? So here it is without it. Right, so putting it through the amp right away gave it more realistic sound, right? Then I also put it through some pedals. Like I still wanted more just and a little chorus. So just even made it more realistic. The chorus gave it some depth, right? Because it's like doubling the signal, right? Then I EQ'd it after that. So again, the chain matters. Now, a lot of times I EQ first, but since I was going through an amp, going through pedals, I wanted to hear what that sounded like. Then I was going to EQ it to match with my music, right? So then I EQ'd it after I was listening to what it sounded like with everything else. And then I added some reverb to it. Here we go. Like pushing it way back, right? Push it back a little bit. And then I added a compressor just to like tighten it up a little bit, right? So here it is in the mix. So now I'm going to shut all the stuff off and turn it back on so you can hear what it sounds like. You hear how it's so far back? It sounds awful without all the amp and the pedal board and stuff. Yeah, use the plugins, color it. That's your canvas to use those plugins to get it real. So that was for that guitar. Now the other guitar, for the solo, let's look at that. So the first thing I did is I just doubled this track, right? I just doubled it, but I kind of changed a little bit of the settings a little bit. So let's look at this now. So instead of the rhythm, I went and changed it to 80s lead. Okay, so I changed it to 80s lead. I'm pretty sure I kept the same. I think everything else I kind of kept the same. The pedal board's the same. Everything's the same. I changed to lead, right? Because I wanted it to sound like the same guitar player, right? So I left everything else the same, but just changed the actual patch. So here we go with the lead. Now, the other thing is, again, understanding what a guitar player would play for a solo. A guitar player is not going to be playing, they're going to be playing pentatonic scale. So I knew what key I was in, so I was kind of, so I was using like a pentatonic scale, the same 5 notes based off of the key I was in. I was actually using, like a G pentatonic scale. But in any case, I knew that if I just hung on those 3 notes and played rhythmically like a guitar player does, like they repeat a lot, they hammer, they bend, it would sound more realistic, like a guitar. So those are the things to help you when you're trying to get guitar sounds, using the amp simulators, the pedals, getting a good basic sound, labs, and then thinking like a guitar player. How does a guitar player really play? How would a guitar player approach going about adding a part to this song, and then kind of trying to mimic that using MIDI? So I hope this helps. Let me know if it does. Cool.